Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first official Wind Down and Chat. Cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
I am Caitlin McKegg, a realtor here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I have with me some of my partners in the Title and Escrow business. So today I'm talking with them about Title and Escrow and getting all of your questions answered about what that means. So first I have Jennifer Spiller. She is the Business Development Manager with Empire West Title Agency, and she is going to be here to answer our questions.
Hi, Caitlin. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited about your wind down happy hour, wisdom, all that good stuff. So thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And then Rachel Gorman, who is a senior escrow officer with Empire West Title and branch manager as well. Thanks for coming, Rachel.
Oh, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about a industry that I am just deeply passionate about.
Yes, of course. We know you're very passionate, so we're excited to get all of the knowledge from you today. But
I think the wine's already going to my head, Caitlin.
Right. We had a few technical difficulties ahead of time and gave us some time to get our wine down before we started. But for all intents and purposes, it is 6 o'clock, so we're not drinking on the job per se. I will throw that out there. But just enjoying a casual conversation to talk about escrow and title. And why I felt this was important is because many of my clients that I've worked with don't necessarily understand or know what escrow and title are or what they do. Or why they're kind of combined. So I was hoping that I can ask you guys a few questions and you can help me explain that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Well, I guess I'll start by asking, why do you need a title company in your transaction when you're buying or selling a house?
Jen, you want me to take this one?
Yeah, you can take this one, Rachel.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So as a escrow officer, we are the neutral party between both buyer and seller to follow the terms of the purchase contract, make sure that we don't favor one side or the other. And title insurance ensures that the property is free and clear for the new owner from anybody in the history of the property making a possible claim on that property.
Do you want me to expand on that? Rachel's so good. She knows all about it. And sometimes when she explains it to me, I go, what was that?
Jump in whenever you'd like, Jennifer.
Okay. No, I thought she did a great job. I'm just giving her a hard time about it. But yeah.
I stopped talking. I stopped.
I did. You did. When I started in the business, I've been in my position for 2 years now. When I started, I didn't really know. I had been a lender for 20 weeks. I don't want to do my age.
You were 5 when you started.
I was 5. And so it really took me a lot of time coming over. And Rachel was so, great about kind of explaining to me, because there is so much that goes into it, where people go, as you were saying, Caitlin, earlier, people are like, well, what does that mean? Why do I need a title company when you're dealing with your buyers and sellers and maybe their first time home buyers and they don't understand the process? So it is something that's, extremely important, and you cannot buy a home without having it.
To add to that, Jen, is that we also handle all the money, going from the buyer to the seller, and also pay off any debts that are tied to the transaction on the property. So we receive the money from one side, the buyer and the lender, and then we make all the necessary payments as part of that process.
Yeah. And also too, earnest money is in that too, not just the purchase price. And I've talked
Correct.
about that in some of my past videos, because as a buyer, when you're going to put down, 1%, that can be a hefty chunk of change on a large property. And so you're not giving that to the seller right away. You give that to your escrow company that holds that as a third party. And then if things do fall out along the way or whatever happens, then that money is distributed appropriately based on the contract. So that's why it's important to have that third party in the process.
Right.
But with saying that, so kind of like people refer to title and escrow, like lumping them together. I guess, what is the difference between title and escrow?
So title is the insurance that we are going to be issuing to the buyer and lender, if there is a lender, making sure that the property is free and clear. Nobody, well, like I said, that no one's going to come after the property. So we offer title insurance. When you have car insurance, you are insuring for the future of the day that you issued the policy to the future. And for title insurance, we insure from the day of closing to the history of the property. So that's title insurance.
Hey, Rach, can you also expand on that a little bit? When you're talking about somebody owning a property free and clear, that sometimes gets confusing, like what that means. And so being where I'm at and what I've learned, it's, a lot of times you don't realize when you're the person that they go to, you're the escrow officer, and you check on that title. Let's say that property is 20 years old. You check on it because there might be a lien, maybe a lien, mechanic's lien or some kind. That's what Rachel means by quote unquote, like free and clear, to make sure that title, because you don't know, maybe a contractor didn't get paid, for example, and then there's some kind of weird lien on the property, and it happens. We see it happen all the time.
Absolutely. And judgments can be recorded against somebody who owns the property that we have to address. For example, IRS tax liens, unpaid child support, unpaid credit cards that went to trial, that were put a judgment against that seller. So we get to check everything to make sure that it's a clean transaction by the time we close.
Yeah. And that's really important. And so I'm glad you explained that, because that's something that a buyer doesn't know to look for. And many realtors also aren't looking at that. So when you get that title report and you're looking at it, the title company is going to make sure that that is, like Jen said, free and clear before you own the property, because that's the last thing you want, is to buy that and then have that be your issue now. Yeah, a surprise and your issue. So that's another huge benefit to what you guys do. Was there anything else you wanted to expand on with that?
Can you just talk a little bit? Oh, I'm sorry, Rach. Can you just talk a little bit more about the earnest money? Because I know that Caitlin had mentioned that, a lot of her first-time home buyers have it where they're really kind of like, well, what does that mean? And why is it sitting there? And how does title handle it? So if you could just maybe explain that process a little bit for people that are just buying a home, that might be good.
Sure. So earnest money is putting your money where your words are. You are signing a contract saying, we want to buy your house, and the money then backs it up. It actually makes it a firm commitment, saying, not only are we going to buy your house, we need you to take it off the market because we want to buy it. We're going to put some money up for stake. We as buyers have a purchase contract that we can use to do the necessary inspections on the home. But in the meantime, this money is with me, Rachel, the escrow company that's holding the money to have for the purpose of that contract.
And that earnest money goes to just in the lending, because I know that too, and we all know that, but that goes toward the down payment.
Correct.
So that money is like just in a holding pattern, kind of like that. So.
And in the ways of being able to deposit that earnest money, we can receive it via a wire. We can take it as a check where we can send a courier, or we've also just launched a neat app a few months ago where the buyer downloads the app and takes a photo of the check, front and back, and the check is instantly deposited within about 10 minutes. What's really neat about it is it's so much quicker than sending a courier, and there's no cost to it versus a wire.
That's awesome. I didn't even know that was an option now. Way
Yeah.
cool.
I really like it too because of, you know, and I think they rolled that out, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of during the lockdown and during COVID, and it was kind of a means to an end because people didn't want to be around each other, but they were still purchasing homes. And actually, I think it's brilliant. I don't know why they didn't do it years ago, because how often do you take a check? If somebody writes you a check, you take it of your phone for your bank, you know, to deposit in your bank. And, you know, so it's been great. It's so easy. So yeah, I love it.
And there's 0 carbon emissions.
That's right.
I love that about you.
That's awesome. Okay, so just to make sure we're all on the same page. So title is going to be issuing the title insurance. That's essentially what their job is, very summarized. And then escrow is really holding the money and making sure the funds are received from one party to the next during the transaction.
Correct.
Okay.
That's beautifully summarized.
I tried. Well, so why is it important to have a good team then? Like, obviously we kind of now know the importance with title and escrow, but, you know, are there things that could go wrong in this process? Like, why is it important to make sure that you have a company that's going to have your back, essentially?
So I'll start. So Rachel and I, being a business development manager, I work directly with agents and lenders to help them with all their marketing needs. So what I do with that is it's very important in the sense where, let's say Rachel has clients, or a new realtor, somebody like you, and they're like, hey, can we, you know, I really need some help with some marketing. I need this. I need to, you know, send things out to my client. And so then Rachel and I connect, and we figure out a way to not only help on the escrow side, meaning the service side that Rachel gives, but then also on my side to help you with your business. So what we want to do is we really want to create a whole network of where we're working together with the agent, with the escrow officer, with the marketing, and really, really help you to be your best agent, to be the best you can, and really give you those tools and opportunities. So for me, it's important because I always think of escrow officers kind of, you know, like I'm kind of the dating, like they're a dating service. I'm a dating, I'm not, I keep saying madam. I don't want to say madam because that's not what it is. So I'm kind of like the, you know, the matchmaker in this sense. And so, you know, when you started working with, for example, when you started working with Rachel, you know, we had talked about it, and I thought that would be a very good kind of marriage for the two of you because of your personalities and the way Rachel works. And, you know, Caitlin, when I talked to you, I was like, well, so what kind of, what are you looking for? What's important to you in an escrow officer, and what's important to you? You know, what are your pain points, and what are the things that matter most to you? And I thought Rachel was a good fit in that sense. So I think that's kind of where I fit into the process. And then, you know, and then I kind of am sometimes a conduit between those to getting that meeting.
Absolutely. So. My role is to be able to conclude a transaction, to work a transaction and to close that transaction in as less stress to both the buyer and seller and agents as possible. Going out and searching for a home or selling your home, that is a stressful experience. And then going through all the steps and process and procedure that you have to accomplish, the last thing you need is an escrow officer causing chaos at the end and having to chase down details and documents for it. And so to be able to provide a educated and knowledgeable, professional, and as stress-free as possible transaction is definitely the role that I can play. And also make you look good, Caitlin, because you picked the right people that will help you provide that experience for your customers.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize that, you know, we as agents have a choice in finding the team that we want to work with, and it, you know, it makes the difference. And it's one of those things that I do for my clients, not only make a good choice for a title and escrow team, but also for a lender partner, or, you know, any referral that I'm giving to my clients. I want to make sure that I've vetted them out and worked with them, and I know that we're all going to be taken care of, because at the end of the day, it's me, it's you guys, and it's their lender most times as well, if they're not buying with cash. So, you know, we all have to communicate constantly on the process to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks and everyone has been communicated to appropriately. And that includes the agent on the other side, whether it's the listing agent or the buyer's agent. So it really is important that the realtor feels like they can trust their title and escrow team, because everything goes through them, you know, and there's very important parts of this process that have to be, you know, the box has to be checked, and if it's not done, we have major issues. So that's, I think, exactly what you said. Like, it is so important for us all to be able to work well together and kind of hold up each part of our process.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else about this wonderful world of title and escrow that you think someone may want to know? I was going to say, maybe I shouldn't open that up to Rachel.
Don't open that up to her. She will talk about it for hours.
So
I need the whole bottle of wine.
And we can either talk about it now, or we can, you know, tease it for the next time. I wanted to like briefly talk about remote online notary, because I know that's a hot topic in terms of where we're at in society and how it's done, and how it's, you know, what the challenges are that we have it. And I can do it really quickly.
Go for it.
So remote online notary is where the lender has to be able to accept the documents electronically. So you have to make sure that the lender does accept that before getting it set up. Right now, each transaction is $200, no matter if you are a seller or a buyer, and it is not done instantaneously. There is about a 24-hour process of getting documents set up with that specific notary, who then contacts the person who's signing. They'll record the entire transaction and then submit it back through a specific portal. So it's something that we are almost there to fully capture. I think in about 4 to 6 months, we'll probably be a more, definitely a lot better versed on it, and hopefully it becomes a little bit cheaper in this industry.
That's really cool. And I think, and that was very succinct. Thank you. I think too, that's another thing that I should have mentioned as well. You know, for first-time buyers and even sellers, they always think, or they don't always know, like, where do I sign the paperwork or what's going to happen? Title is where all of this happens. So whether it's a notary coming to your house, or online, as we're now starting to experience, or back in, you know, history 6 months ago when you would go to the office to sign paperwork before COVID.
Yeah. Long time
you
ago.
know, right? So there, but title is where you are going to sign all those documents, sign your life away to the house, or, you know, sign the house away to someone else, whatever it is. And they help coordinate all of that. So, and that's really cool. The more that I think we can get online and do these types of things quicker, the better, because everything else is so much online right now that, like, signing wet documents, you know, like signature on documents, feels so antiquated, but there's such a security risk with it too, that people don't realize, you know, when you're transacting that much money from one party to another, and, you know, there's a lot that has to be done. So although that, you know, some people do feel it's antiquated, there is a huge security risk that has to be managed, which is, again, what you guys help do too. So another
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that was all my questions. Jennifer, did you want to add anything else?
No, I just want to add that I'm the only one that's been drinking my wine this whole
No, I've been out on the farm, and I've been watching the light changing, and I've been trying to find new light because I am watching the light change for all three of us during this.
So the longer we're on this call, you're going to be in the dark.
I know. So no, I think that is great. I mean, I think, you don't want to inundate people with too much information that it's overwhelming. They just want to make sure that they have the right team. Obviously, Caitlin, you're the one that they trust, and you're their first person that they're going to be with, and you probably spend the most amount of time with them.
Absolutely.
And so they're going to just, like you said, you just want to make sure that you have the right team in place so your clients are, feel comfortable and feel safe. And this is one of the biggest things that they'll ever have to do in their lives. And it can be extremely stressful. It can be great and exciting, but it also can be very, very stressful. And so when you know that that's one less thing that you or them have to worry about.
Yeah.
And then we know we've done our job.
Yeah, good communication through the process is key, because they do need to hear from you guys and me and their lender. They need to know what's going on. And, if people aren't communicating, it does get very scary and very stressful, because you end up missing deadlines, or you don't know what you need to have delivered for, whatever. It's got to be, you got to communicate through the process, and a good team will do that. So
I agree.
Well, thank you for joining me on the very first wind down.
Thank you for the opportunity.
The first one
cheers.
ever.
Yes, cheers. And
cheers.
If anyone has any questions, you can always reach out to me, and I can also get your questions answered from Jennifer or Rachel. I will add their contact information down below in the link, so if you need any information from them, you can always reach out. But thank you for watching the video as always, and I am Caitlin McKegg with HomeSmart.